I'm inward averse on these airwaves on purpose because you have to teach people how to treat you. But it starts with you. What do you tolerate? So if you tolerate it in your own life, then you're inviting people to do it to you. So either the word is offensive and horrible or it's not. We can't have it both ways at this time. Maybe in another time, maybe in the 70s when we were black and proud, maybe there was a time when it was okay. It's not okay today.
Experience Karen Hunter in a completely different way. Karen Hunter is awesome. The podcast.
If you like me on SiriusXM Urban View Channel 126, you're going to love me. And Karen Hunter is awesome. Hey, this is Karen Hunter, host of The Karen Hunter Show on SiriusXM's Urban View. Karen Hunter is awesome is an actual podcast to bring heat and energy and knowledge and power. A 1-2 punch that I don't think you get anyplace else. Tell the truth. Check out the podcast wherever you get your podcast. You will not be disappointed. We've been conditioned to have these kind of like real circular, weird, the same kind of tropey conversations. So when people are required to actually think, they're not equipped to do it. So they fall back on their, defenses, and then they respond in a way just, emotionally, and, critical thought and processes aren't really part of it. But I want to start this way. And I want to thank Dr. Carr for introducing me to Toni Cade Bambaataa. I'm a Toni Morrison fanatic. I love that woman's mind. But Dr. Carr said one in class with Carr. If I had to pick only one Toni, it would be Toni Cade Bambaataa. It would be her. And I said, oh, then I got to go get the book, Salt Eaters. So I went and got the book, and I understand exactly when we're talking about culture, Toni Morrison sits in it for sure. There's no comparison. I think all the Tonys should come. Tony, all of them. but I get it. It's like I spoke with you briefly today, and I said I just went to the movies to see Thunderbolts, and I feel like Sinners has ruined all movies for me. Like I can't. I'm like, I see what y'all were doing. It was a good movie, but. I feel like I have no time for the frivolity. Don't mess in my face, even if it's good. I want to be stretched. I want more. So let me just start here. Let me start with this quote. And it's the first page of Salt Eaters. She writes, "Are you sure, sweetheart, that you want to be well?" Today is Wellness Wednesday on the Karen Hunter Show. And that's a question I want everyone to sit. Are you sure, sweetheart, you want to be well? Because she later writes, just so you're sure, sweetheart, and ready to be healed, because wholeness is no trifling matter.
Yeah, a whole lot of folk don't know how to be happy. And you have folks running around in these virtually combustible situations at all times, and the average man, woman, he, she, or they you pass on the street for certainly is not well, but we don't even know that they have done any exploration to acknowledge that they are unwell. And so you have these fundamentally broken people walking past each other on the streets of New York City and Washington, D.C., and we somehow are just trying to find a way to survive. But that is a fantastic question you ask, or Toni Cade asked, Sister Cade asked, are you sure you want to be well? Because at some point, at all of our big ages, none of which start with anything less than a foe, we've kind of made a decision to be unwell. Is that fair to say?
I think unconsciously, but that's why I want people to sit in the question. Toni Cade Bambaataa, Bambara. Are you sure, sweetheart? And so there's the endearment, right? Because she loves the people who come to her in this particular, in the Salt Eaters. Are you sure, sweetheart, you want to be well? It's a question I don't think many of us have asked ourselves. So today we're going to have a question around wellness and wholeness. And we're going to start with this clip, and I'm giving you a warning. I just did that. I'm giving you a warning that the word will be used. And we're going to have a conversation about it, because I think we must. We must. And I've been having this conversation, Don, and getting into little battles with folk who don't want to really be well. They don't. Yeah. And they don't realize that the medicine, you may feel like it's, like castor oil, But I promise you, if we, all right, so let's play. So there's the viral clip. And just so y'all know, I see just about everything that's going on, that's viral and things. I make a conscious decision of what I'm going to bring to these airwaves because I'm always asking myself the question, from our great, amazing thought leader, Sonia Sanchez. But how do it free us? So having a conversation, I'm never having that conversation. Even the Shador Sanders conversation wasn't about Shador being drafted or not being drafted. If I'm talking about sports, it's never about the sports. It's about a larger issue that we must sit with, right? So I am not talking about this lady because I'm like, what do we do with this? This is another wilding white lady acting crazy. But now I think it's important to talk about it. So her name is, I'm going to give her name, Shiloh Hendricks. She was on a playground with her child. There was a child of African American descent on the playground. 5-year-olds. Allegedly, the black 5-year-old took something from her child on the playground because children do that. They're children. Their brains aren't fully formed or what have you. I don't know what all of the circumstances, but they're children. They're children. They will fight. They will throw tantrums. They will take things. They will throw things. They're children. So this is what happened. This was the encounter. And apparently Shiloh Hendricks said something to somebody else's child, someone else's 5-year-old that was not kind. And someone else who happened to overhear it stepped in. Smith, play the clip.
Did you call him a nigger, the child?
The fuck you talking
Did you
about?
call the child a nigger word?
None of your fucking business.
It is my business. You call him a nigger? Okay, why don't you have the balls to say it right now again? Okay. All right, that's what you say.
You don't go digging through people's shit, dumb fuck.
Nobody digging to shit.
A little fucking kid just dig, you dumbass.
That little kid, you call him a nigger?
Yeah.
The little child?
What if he acts like one is gonna
Are you about to hit him? You chasing him?
He took my son's stuff.
So that gives you the right to call the child, 5-year-old, the N-word.
If that's what he's gonna act
That's
like.
what you're gonna call him.
That's what he's gonna act like.
You know, that's the hate speech. And you can be recorded for that.
I don't give a shit.
Huh.
Fuck off.
Okay, we'll see about that, what the internet has to say about you.
Okay, so apparently this man on the playground was offended. He doesn't sound like he's from the culture, even though she did call him an N-word too.
Yo, I'm gonna say, dude got a little N-word happy himself, and I don't know. He did not sound like a native Wakandan. And he got a little crunk. I didn't like it.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. You didn't like it. I didn't like it. I'm like, we got enough going on. I'm not bringing it to the airwaves to just be upset and outraged. Ain't nothing I can do. Say it to my face. There's gonna be a different story. Like on these airwaves, we could all be courageous about what we gonna do in real time. Dude only held up a camera. I'm gonna say less about that, but he's a man too. He should do whatever he did, which was to put it out on the internet. So this thing went viral. I saw it when it came out, and I was like, okay. I said, once again, the way I'm estimating it too, I believe people are doing things to get us riled up. So I am not going to take the bait, right? So this conversation today is not about this lady. She's going to be living in hell, her own personal hell, or not, because she's raised damn near $700,000 because she put out some, a Give, Send, Go campaign complaining about, please help protect my family, because after a homeboy who judiciously, a lot, used the N-word himself. Not
quite
from our culture.
Quite liberally.
Yes. I can't say the word because I'm not a liberal. But anyways.
Quite progressively. He used
progressively, yes. Use the word. He put it out and it, went viral, of course. So she started getting, people coming for her, finding out, because all you got to do is like, do you know this lady? Where does she work? And people, there are people who do this. This is their profession now. They make a lot of money doing these videos on, see this person? Who are they? Let's make them famous. So they made her famous. So then Tizzy ENT, who's been on the show a lot, twice, I think we had him on, made her famous. And so she put out a Give, Send, Go campaign and said, here's what it said. Please help protect my family. The goal, Don, $1 million. $1 million. $1 million. Campaign created by Shiloh Hendricks. Campaign funds will be received by Shiloh Hendricks. She is asking for $1 million to relocate her family. Now, I've moved several times in my life. I ain't never, ever. I ain't spent $1 million on not even the house. Can I? Not even close. Like where, she's in. Where is she? Rochester. Don't nothing cost $1 million in Rochester, New York. Oh my God, when you moving to France like this? But she got 700,000, baby. Okay, I'm gonna put that over there because this is not even about that. It's not even about that. The little boy. The NAACP branch of Rochester's branch of NAACP, they launched a GoFundMe. He got $341,000. The little boy that was called the N-word, just to put it in perspective. So there's two questions on the table, or two things to consider. Clearly, people are more committed to their racism than they are to any level of justice, fairness, equality, maturity, wholeness, completion. They are committed to you not telling them what they can't do in their America. My free speech says I can say whatever I want in this America. Okay. That's a question. That's not a question. It's something to comment on. But where I want to land today, Don, is our commitment. So we're offended and outraged that this lady called a little boy this word and then said it to this man who's not even from our culture and said it a bunch of times. We're outraged, but we don't have a problem. I'm watching Joe Budden. I'm watching Ish. Every other word out of that man's mouth is the N-word. I'm listening to Mark Lamont Hill, parroting it back and forth. I'm sitting there and I'm cringing because as they're trying to have these intellectual diatribes and discourses, nobody in that room has a problem with the man that goes home to the white woman every night because he's saying it in front of her because he can't even help it. Every other word. There's a podcaster that I absolutely love. I think it's Grits and Eggs. Every other word out of his mouth is the N-word, and he's saying such amazing things. And we had to bleep. We played a clip last week, and we had to bleep because I'm N-word averse on these airwaves on purpose because you have to teach people how to treat you. But it starts with you. What do you tolerate? So if you tolerate it in your own life, then you're inviting people to do it to you. So either the word is offensive and horrible or it's not. We can't have it both ways at this time. Maybe in another time, maybe in the 70s when we were black and proud, maybe there was a time when it was okay. It's not okay today. 866-801-8255, and I'm very clear about it. Don, where do you land?
I'm going to try to stop saying it. And I have tried to make a concerted effort at different times in my life. You said that last time you were, so I'm calling BS on you. Yeah, it still comes out, but I will tell you, it gets more and more uncomfortable every time I say it. And it's much less, much less. So I think, it won't be a cold turkey thing, but I'm phasing it out. And hopefully.
So why are you holding on to it in any form?
It's just an extraordinarily convenient word when I'm around us and talking to us and want to be understood. Now, that might have some psychological ramifications for me wanting to feel like I'm still one of us or something of that nature. But we'll get into that after my therapist appointment tomorrow.
I'm sorry. Let me try to stop. Correction. Rochester, when I saw Rochester, I assumed it was New York. It's Rochester, Minnesota. And still, I think it doesn't cost $1 million to buy something. Thank you, caller. Thank you, people.
Minnesota, nice.
Again, in this space, we are deigning to be correct, and we are okay with being corrected. Thank you for correcting me. I have a couple other corrections from yesterday's show that I'm going to talk about later on. But what is it that so you can't use the word brother?
It's just, I don't know. Look, I grew up saying it. I've always said it. I'm going to try to stop. I don't know. I can't tell you why.
My parents and I, this is something that we would throw around all the time. Mm-hmm. Like liberally, blah. A lot. You say the word. But once I realized that it almost makes you hypocritical to say you can't say it, but I can. And the starkest depiction of this was Gwyneth Paltrow on stage with Jay-Z and Kanye. And N-words in Paris came on. And there's a whole sea of white faces.
Loving it.
Yes. And saying it.
And saying it. I was, so there's this, I have teenage sons and we share rap. And there is a gentleman rapper by the name of Dave Blunts, Blunts. And Dave Blunts
is he, I guess, 400 pounds? Is this a guy that's
I
really
was going to
big?
say somewhere in the 600 to 700 pound
Oh,
range. He
okay.
is
I don't know. Just
morbidly obese and is
yes.
wheeled a stage every evening to spit in front of almost entirely white crowds and vocally and vociferously encourages them to say the N-word and say it throughout the song. So, I think that there are some of us, this does not justify my use of the word, but there are some of us who are, we got to stop clutching our pearls because we're going to do it all day, every day. And our hands won't be open to do other things because these kids out here crazy. And we have released ourselves of certain standards of propriety. And, it didn't start with us, but we were not able to end it because I seen a whole bunch of white frat kids who 15 years ago were rapping to Asher Roth. Today are jumping around saying the N-word with a black Pied Piper leading them. There's too much money in the shock foolishness. And that's what this kind of comes down to. There is money to be made off of the BS. And you and I are very squarely of it. And the folks listening to us are very squarely of one of the last generations where we were taught to believe that you should be about some substance, right? So we're going to have to get used to a whole lot more shock because shock is paying people. And the N-word is not exempted from shock.
Let me understand. So we should abandon the notion that we should have lines in the sand around behavior as it relates to what's acceptable and what's not. It shouldn't matter. So we should just give up.
No, not at all. Not at all. I'm saying, but we need to get used to seeing it a lot. Because
I say no.
I don't want to get used to it. I don't want to get used to it. I don't want to get accustomed to it.
Be the example.
Hey, listen, I will start with myself not saying it. I've instructed my kids not to say it, although they've heard it. But I'm seeing a culture out here where folks are monetizing our trauma, our pain, and frankly, the ability to trigger and offend us.
Right. And we look like hypocrites. Well, you can't say it. Well, it's freedom of speech and you say it. And
right.
And saying, well, it's different is not working. To me, the only thing at this point, since it was founded and fomented in our pain through the lash, through the branding, through the hardships and the rapes and all of the other things, the genocide, right? It was fomented, that word. We called ourselves taking it back, a word, because I think how a thing is started is how a thing it usually is. Chitlins are still shit. Can we just, it's still a bag of it's still a sack holding. You can clean them in vinegar, wash them and make them delicious. You're still eating remnants of shit. And I'm saying it like that because I need you to understand that the N-word is just that. We could try to make it, pretty it up and put some sauce on it and this and that. But now it's become, to me, that they could raise damn near $1 million for this woman's right to call a 5-year-old child in our community this.
Yeah.
And let me, let me underscore this. And I'm sorry, I came in hot today. Because I'm hot. I'm like, it's like fish grease up in here because I'm just like, ooh wee. So bringing up Mark Lamont Hill, who is a world-class scholar. He posted something about Ish. Just my colleague, he's a very smart guy. I said, no, he's not. Stop lying to us. He's not very smart. You sit there every day and bat him around like a cat playing with a toy because he's not very smart. He's emotional. He's weak. He thinks he reads, but he has no scholarship. and let's stop elevating that, right? The fact that he has a platform, the same exact platform that Mark Lamont Hill has, should be embarrassing. This is not a colleague. Y'all aren't equals. Here's an example. Every Saturday, I do a thing called In Class with Carr. I talk for maybe, if on a good day, it'll be a 2-hour thing, Don. Maybe I talk for 10 minutes. And most of that talk, I talk that talk, but I'm asking questions. Do you know why, Don? Because that man knows way more than I do.
Mm-hmm.
I know that man knows way more than I do. I'm not going to sit there. We're not debating. I'm not, back and forth with him. I'm like, he has read the footnotes and the footnotes to the footnotes. I'm not going to sit there. I'm not doing that. Let that man talk. And ask questions because I want to know. I'm gonna say this, and this is how what you're saying about the commerce. So we are addicted to this thing. So there's two things. I'm about to play another Mark Lamont Hill clip. He was on with Piers Morgan. and there are like 4 other people on the panel. And apparently this white lady wants to use the N-word. I think they're talking about this very case. So Piers Morgan is inviting her to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Mark Lamont Hill is standing there. Play the clips, miss.
I want to live in a country where people are allowed to say what they want unashamedly, and you will
well, go
not
on then,
have
say
to,
it. Say
you
the
will
M-
not have
Go on,
free
say,
speech.
go on, say the M word. Go on.
I'm not
Hang on, hang
Don't
on.
invite. No.
No.
I don't want you to invite this woman to say a racially harmful term in
No.
front of me, because I'm the only on here. So if she says it, I'm the victim of it. So please don't invite her for ratings to call me the N-word, because that's basically what it's going to be. There's a bunch of white people up here, you and one Uncle Tom on the left here, and to ask her to say the N-word while I'm here is ridiculous. You would not sit here with a Jewish person and say, please use a Jewish slur in front of this Jew. It's ridiculous. I understand you don't have any bad intent, Piers. I understand what you're trying to do. But we already know she's
Mark, I
racist,
hear you.
and I don't want to invite a racial harm to me.
I hear you, and I accept that, and we'll leave it there.
No, you should have apologized, you weak. And the only reason why Piers Morgan has a show is because he does denigrating, harmful commentary, particularly around Meghan Markle, who he's still spurned by because she didn't go out on a date with him. But his whole platform is this bull crap right here, right? Baiting this kind of thing. The fact that you would tell that woman to say the word on the airwaves. Thank you, Mark Lamont Hill. But I want you to have that same energy when you're sitting on a Joe Budden's couch. I want you to have that because it feels the same when Ish says it. Let's just be clear. This man is not necessarily, pro-black to his point. Dr. Umar sussed it out, Everybody's got some issues. We'll just put that out there. But the point is, when he's saying it, he's saying it with the woman that he goes home with as well. This should be the level, that fever pitch that I heard from you, Mark Lamont Hill. Excellent. That's the energy we should all have. Period. Thoughts and prayers, Don Calloway.
Well, Mark Lamont Hill, first of all, there goes a Kappa man. Just got to get that out there on the airwaves. Piers Morgan is so not worth our time, but he is also so emblematic of the people who we've been told are smart and thoughtful and successful over the years. Let this serve as probably the millionth reminder if you've been watching him for the last 20 years. He's not, and his ilk are not, and his like are not, whether they're found on Fox News or any one of the other big cable news networks. They're not that impressive. And be wary that you are starting to see offshoots, satellites of that. I'm looking at you, News Now. I'm looking at you, Cuomo, and whatever you're doing over there. It's really just, there's going to be a whole lot of BS justifying activities from this administration, justifying ordinary Americans' behavior, like this woman who verbally and violently abused that 5-year-old black. You're going to see a lot of foolishness masquerading as acceptable whiteness, explaining and justifying a lot of the unjustifiable over the course of the next 4 years of this administration. That's just something I'm observing as I kind of try to, watch the larger culture here about what we're going to allow and not allow. I think there's something fundamentally patriotic about the notion that you can find in this country kinship from enough people who support you and see the world as you do, that you can raise $700,000. Frankly, I'm kind of happy that the victim here had enough kinship in this big, beautiful country that we are able to raise $340,000. And that's not an insignificant amount. But let's look deeper than that. What that's really saying is that there's $1 million worth of our fellow country folks who actually really enjoy the visceral abuse of black people and enjoy it so much that they're willing to laud it and support it and build up people who do it. And if we see that that is the actual consistent social reward for the lynching of black people, it's actually a bounty. That's what it comes down to, is a bounty on black lives every day walking around in this world. Because if you kill one of us, I get you $1 million in GoFundMe. If you call a kid the N-word, that's worth $750,000, and now you get to go on the speaking circuit. Let's be clear: George Zimmerman profited.
That's why I have it on my sheet. How much did he get? How much did George Zimmerman get? I think he got. He was able to sell the gun
Yes.
that he used to shoot Trayvon Martin. I think that gun
He
went
did
for
that.
like
He
half a
started
million.
I knew a lot more about that weirdly than most people. He started a security line. He went on the Chitlin, the equivalent of the redneck Chitlin circuit, and he is a sought after speaker and signer of guns and paraphernalia. Kyle Rittenhouse profited. The sister who killed Terrence Crutcher, the woman police officer who killed brother Terrence Crutcher down in
Shelby.
Oklahoma, profited by doing escalation and de-escalation courses for Southern police forces, right? To continue to train them how to continue the tradition of state-sanctioned murder and getting away with it. These people profit, which effectively, regardless of how the remuneration hits their bottom line bank account, effectively amounts to a live bounty on Black people's lives.
Okay. The man that killed Mike, and I know this because I was on the air, what's his name? Darren Wilson, who killed Mike Brown, got $1 million, and he was never even charged. He got $1 million in his GoFundMe. George Zimmerman got $2 million. Daniel Penny, who choked the man on the train.
Daniel Penny is in the White House in substantive meetings.
$3 million in his GoFundMe. You're saying something, Kyle Rittenhouse, as you mentioned, George Zimmerman, all of these folk, when they do these things, there's money in it. So I'm saying if we don't stand for something, like there's very little we can do to bring any of those people back.
There still remains a bounty and active reward for lynching Black people in this country.
Right. But there is something we can do right now. And it's not about policing language. It's about standing up for what is right in this point, in this time. It's hard to wag your finger at somebody when you just let it go and you inviting it. So then where's the line? I don't know what the slur is for Italian. Well, I do, because I grew up in a household that my dad was from Newark. So, the Italians and the Blacks and the Jews and the Blacks. So I know every slur there is for other people because they were hurled quite frequently in the 40s and 50s in Newark, right? So I know them. But I beg to differ if anyone who's 20 or 30 can tell me the slur for a Jewish person or for an Italian or for an Irish. And they were hurtful slurs to them, right? But most of us don't know them. But why does everyone know the N-word?
Experience Karen Hunter in a completely different way. Karen Hunter is awesome. The podcast.
If you like me on SiriusXM Urban View Channel 126, you're going to love me. And Karen Hunter is awesome. Hey, this is Karen Hunter, host of The Karen Hunter Show on SiriusXM's Urban View. Karen Hunter is Awesome is an actual podcast to bring heat and energy and knowledge and power. A 1-2 punch that I don't think you get anyplace else. Tell the truth. Check out the podcast wherever you get your podcast. You will not be disappointed.